Marathon has an endgame problem. More specifically, how the endgame fits into the core gameplay loop has a problem. Which is a shame because I am loving my time with the game right now, and Cryo Archive is so much fun when it works. No other map lets me use my guns and my raw skill honed over minutes in aim labs to this degree. But Cryo Archive, the endgame map with the best loot, the toughest enemies, is not satisfying. More importantly, the road to get to that endgame almost encourages me to play the game less. And today we're gonna talk about all that. Why this endgame does not work right now, but also, what can Bungie do to fix it? To properly paint the picture of Marathon's endgame issues, we first need to talk about what Bungie currently thinks the endgame loop is. Step 0. It's the weekend. Cryo Archive is open, and I want to get in. To do so, all I need is a gear loadout with a value of 5,000 credits or more. That loadout can be a fully decked out kit with purple shields and gold guns, or it can be just a Gucci backpack and an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. It doesn't matter, I just need 5,000 credits worth of stuff. Step 1. I go play the other 3 maps, Perimeter, Dire Marsh, and Outpost, until I either collect 5,000 credits worth of viable loot, or until I collect enough cash to buy the loot I need from the shop. Step 2. I load into Cryo Archive with 2 other runners. We face the game's ultimate challenge. Waves of enemies, a labyrinth of a map full of puzzles and security levels to gain access to more areas or other players. We get the best loot in the game, and by the skin of our teeth, we extract. Step 3. Bathe in the swaths of gold and riches I just collected. Call my mom, tell her that her son is a pro gamer, and do it all over again. Sounds like a nice endgame loop, right? You know, making you engage with all that Marathon has to offer to prepare for its endgame, to create your best build to get the best rewards. And Bungie is thinking, surely all of our players will do those exact steps in that exact order and have a great time. Wrong! Here's what the endgame loop in Marathon is actually like. Step 0. It's the weekend. Cryo Archive is open and I want to get in. To do so, all I need is a gear loadout with a value of 5,000 credits or more. Step 1. I load into Outpost as Rook. I walk my way right into Pinwheel, the most lucrative location in the game, because since Rooks load in halfway into the match, all the puzzles needed to open the door to Pinwheel have been completed by other players already. I loot what I can, instantly gain gear above that 5,000 credit limit, and then exfil. If I die, I load right back in immediately because I'm a Rook and I have nothing to lose but my dignity. Step 2. I load into Cryo Archive with 2 other runners with the gear I just got in the last 10 minutes. We don't extract because every engagement with other runners is shoot on sight, but that's no problem because I just immediately go back to step 2 and get a bunch of loot as Rook again. Rook run Pinwheel, Cryo Archive, repeat. Do you see the problem here? There is so much fun in the phrase, I'm going to do whatever I can to prepare for the game's most challenging content. As a matter of fact, I talked a lot about the joys of prep work in Marathon in my initial review of the game, and hell, I stand by it. But since Cryo Archive was released, the prep work I do has vanished. I have barely a reason to go back to Perimeter or Dire Marsh unless I have a quest to do so. I have barely a reason to do my own Pinwheel runs on Outpost properly when going in as a Rook is just so effective and so easy. I have barely a reason to go after loot in Marathon throughout my week, because I can get everything I need in 10 to 20 minutes whenever Cryo Archive opens on the weekends. Marathon's endgame content is having the exact opposite effect that it should. I should be pushed to play all the maps, continue to level my character, continue to do these quests, to bring my own kit into Pinwheel. But I really have no reason to do so. Thankfully, I am not that, annoying coworker who just complains for 8 hours a day. I have some ideas that I'd like to propose to get things back on track. So let's throw some spaghetti at the wall, shall we? And see what sticks. Make Cryo Archive available all week. I know that makes it a bit less exciting, a bit less living for the weekend, living la vida loca, but hear me out. Being able to access Cryo Archive anytime does 2 things. First, it makes the endgame content accessible for everyone. Hell, even for me, weekends get busy. There are some Wednesdays in my life where I have the time to game, but not on Saturdays, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who feels that way. By making it always available, it's obviously available to more people, but secondly, it takes the rush to load into Cryo Archive non-existent. I no longer say, well, I only have a limited time with Cryo Archive, so I need to loot fast to gain entry. So let me do some pinwheel runs as Rook to get back into Cryo fast. Instead, it's now, why rush? Let me go do some other quests, side activities, or chase my own personal goals and get loot that way. I'll go back to Cryo Archive on my own terms when I'm ready, after I perform a diverse set of rewarding activities. Now, you may be thinking, well, if you could do Cryo Archive at any time, that makes it too easy, too accessible, and kind of ruins the gravity that endgame content is supposed to provide. Great point. Let's talk about the next suggestion. A $5,000 credit loadout for Cryo Archive is way too easy to achieve, way too attainable. If this was 10 or even 15,000, for example, the game now says you can't just be loading into Pinwheel as Rook each time. You need to go grind the lower difficulty maps to get good gear. You take that good gear into Pinwheel to get great gear. Then you take that great 15k credit value gear into Cryo Archive. So while the archive would be available all week, the barrier to entry is higher. Plus, you and your teammates are more prepared for its challenges. No more loading in yourself with just a shotgun and hoping an enemy drops a good gun and purple shields for you. With a higher credit limit, you earn your right to be in Cryo Archive, and you wind up going in with the firepower to show for it. As an average, more casual player who hasn't killed the compiler yet or gone into every room, I have yet to find any loot in Cryo Archive that has just blown me away. I understand that you need some locked rooms, some compiler battles, etc. to get the best of the best loot. But what if Cryo Archive was the best place to find drops for keys? You know, keys that open secret rooms on the other maps. I suggest this because number one, I have yet to find a key myself, and because, reason number two, this allows for you to go to Cryo Archive, and even if you don't kill the compiler, even if you don't find these secret rooms, if you successfully extract with one of these keys, you are now encouraged to go back to Perimeter, back to Dire Marsh, with the hopes of great loot in those maps' own locked rooms. AKA, I now have another reason to interact with the rest of the game. And finally, there's one more suggestion I have that sadly, I don't think it's happening anytime soon, but it would undoubtedly boost my satisfaction with the game and others as well. You saw this one coming, so let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Listen, I still have a good time loading into Cryo Archive with randoms. Yeah, we are giga uncoordinated and barely extract, but it's still a good time. But Forced Squads does something to Marathon that I, as a solo player, really don't like. Forced Squads completely removes the extraction fantasy. It's a bit of action, a bit of stealth, major risk, some reward, all thrills. To have that fantasy, you need to have a sandbox that supports it. You need to have the option to sneak around enemies, the option to see another player and just run away, to hide in the vent when you hear someone skulking about just to get the drop on them, or sit and wait for them to pass entirely. You need to know that at any moment, a shot can come at you from any direction as you scurry to cover and strategize as your plans have suddenly changed. So it's very strange to have all those elements of the extraction fantasy in Perimeter, in Dire Marsh, in Outpost, just for the game's ultimate challenge to have none of it, because I can't do it solo. Teams of 3 do not hide from each other. They shoot on sight. Teams of 3 do not sneak around unless it's to flank someone. Teams of 3 have to share the loot that you may have just loaded into Cryo Archive solely to look for. Every time I load into Cryo Archive, it feels like I'm loading into an entirely different game because I kinda am. And allowing the community to give solos a try, I think would not just bring a lot more people into Cryo Archive, but would also give solo players their own ultimate test of that extraction fantasy. Now look, we've eaten a lot of spaghetti, and I recognize that some of these ideas may bring their own issues. If Cryo Archive is always available, how do I know to play that or ranked? If I need 15k worth of gear, can't I just do 3 successful Rook runs in Pinwheel instead of 1 or 2? Or maybe you're thinking, Mr. YouTuber, this game isn't meant for solo players. Step aside, let the squads have their fun, and go back to Arc Raiders, ya baby. Firstly, how dare you? Secondly, These are just ideas. None perfect, but all stuff I think can get the conversation going of making Marathon's endgame better. Now, not just better, but the way it's meant to be. I want an endgame experience in an extraction shooter that puts you to the ultimate test and rewards you for it. I want to look at the Cryo Archive map and say, before I load in, I need to make sure that I'm ready. There's rarely an experience like that in other games, and it's something that can truly make Marathon shine. But what do you think? Are you enjoying Marathon's endgame? What changes do you want to see to Cryo Archive, to the endgame loop? Or are you just happy to be here? Let me know down in the comments below, and for more chats like these over a cup of coffee, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.